I recognize the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think we're putting our hands right on the issue here because I think the most important thing in this hearing is understanding this is about risk. And Mr. Versace, as you pointed out, it's not just about risk, but understanding who is taking this risk and making sure we have the data available to be able to understand it. And with that in mind, Fed Chair Powell said that to give us some understanding of this, he said that right now there are $90 million of this CLO business. But he also said that only of 700 billion, in a total market of the CLOs, but only 90 billion of that, roughly $700 billion, are held by the largest banks. So that comes out to being about 13% of all of the CLOs. So the question seems to me is, does this mean that our major domestic financial institutions are being protected from the harshest impacts in the event of a financial shutdown? But it also follows that these other non-bank participants in this market, be it mutual funds, pension funds, insurance companies, may feel the pinch in the downturn. So the question is to each of you, what do we know about the portion of the CLO market that is taken up by these non-bank entities? What do we know about them? We know that 13% are handled by our banks, our largest banks. What about this remaining 87%? What do we know about these non-bank entities? Can we start with you on that, Ms. Vashina? I hope I got it right.
Good enough. This is precisely the question. So we have insight into banks, we take them out, and the bulk of CLO tranches is still left out. I would make that point that you're raising a little bit more complex one, because part of it is investment grade, which is the bulk, but the layer of the equity, which is definitely not sitting in banks, will be also very important to gain insight. We don't know much. This is what the system is known as why this is generally described as shadow banking. And in particular, one question to put out there, how much of that is sitting in US state pension funds? That would be an important question.
Yeah, and my issue is, how can we make sure that these people who rely on their pensions, on their retirement funds, are adequately protected? Not just the banks, but these are people there who are suffering. Let me give you an example. We have many union members right now who are pensioners. Do we know if they are in this position because the money is not there? Particularly the Teamsters. The Teamsters' pension is basically gone. We're having to adjust to that. What degree were they in this leverage loan market? How can we make sure that Main Street, the people who are depending upon this, are protected? Mr. Vashenti, I'm having trouble with the names. Vashenti, you made an interesting point, because I think you're driving home what I'm after here. Do you think we have enough information on this, these participants who are non-banks, who are in real deep in this market? Are they adequately to be able to handle the risk?
Yeah, I think that there is not sufficient information at this stage to fully understand the non-banks. I can tell you that the non-banks that that invest in CLOs include insurance companies, pension funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, others. But it would be good to better understand what the exposures are and whether the investors themselves, those investors, have runnable funding structures. So
And
not
let me
the,
just end
The
with
gentleman's
this,
time has
Chairman. Is it
expired.
possible I could get just one little question? I just wanted to know if the panelists were aware of the information that Fed Chair Powell said only 13% are covered by the major banks.
You say yes or no, if you're
yes.
aware.
yes.
I think banks own 45% of leveraged loans.
Your
All right,
mic,
the
please.
gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your generosity.